The following podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op, in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com.
Welcome to the Support Local Everything podcast, a podcast of the Upward Niagara Chamber of Commerce. I'm Chamber President Jennifer Pauley, and welcome to the first week of June. It's hard to believe that June is here, and what better month to celebrate summer and the start of tourist season and better weather all the way around, and tons of events happening in the area. This week alone, we're celebrating 2 ribbon cuttings in the village of Youngstown, Petey's Treats, and a great ice cream place in the village of Youngstown, right on the main street there, and they are celebrating 1 year in business. So ribbon cutting on Tuesday for that, and at the end of the week, a new business that has opened, Happy Tales of Niagara, a doggy daycare, grooming, and boarding business, and such a great opportunity for people to come out to the village of Youngstown this week, check out the new businesses, and celebrate with the Chamber. We also have a few things coming up on our calendar of events, so go to the website, upwardniagara.com, check out the Chamber events page for all of the business events that are coming up, as well as the community calendar. It's full of great things going on. I had the opportunity on Saturday night to attend the Lewiston Council on the Arts Opera Gala night at the Castellani Art Museum, and it was phenomenal. They featured very, very talented singers from Eastman School of Music, and it was just a great opportunity to enjoy live music, talented musicians, in such a great setting. So kudos, brava to the Lewiston Council on the Arts and Maria, the executive director, and her entire board of directors who worked very hard to make this happen. Opera is back in our region, and they did such a great job. So huge commends to them. They were just trying something new, and it was just a great night. Go to the website for more information on upcoming events, and contact the office. If your event is not on the website, we'll get it right up there. The community calendar is a great way to connect with other businesses, other organizations, find out what's going on in the community, and plan your calendar around it. So let us know if you need an event added to there. We'll talk you through the steps. You can upload photos and calendar dates and information yourself, and be a part of our community, be a part of all of the things going on. Today we have a special guest from the Mental Health Association in Niagara County. We have Executive Director Daniel Colpoys here. Thank you for joining us today. The Mental Health Association in Niagara County has been serving the area for over 50 years. Their mission is to promote mental wellness by sponsoring and implementing advocacy, education, and community service programs. And Daniel, we're so happy to have you here. Thank you for finding the location. So as some of you know, Rich has moved his studio. We've talked about this for a few episodes to a great new location, a large location on Maryland Ave, and we accidentally gave you his old location address. You found it. We made our way here,
no worries.
And we appreciate you taking the time to come and speak a little bit about what's going on in Niagara County with mental health and why it's important. So tell us a little bit about how you got to this position before we start getting into the programs and events. How did you get into this position to, serve as executive director of this great organization?
Sure. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Jennifer. Always love to get out and talk about the organization and talk about mental health. Educating the public on mental health is a big component of the mission of the Mental Health Association. And we'll get into some more of that in a little bit, I'm sure. But my background, born and raised in Niagara Falls, so I'm a Niagara County guy. Always worked in the human services field. So when I finished college at UB, I still wasn't really sure what I was looking to do professionally. And the first place that offered me a job was an agency called Opportunities Unlimited, which is now called has since changed their name to In Tandem. And so I worked with them for 5 or 6 years, and Ended up moving on to Goodwill Industries of Western New York in Buffalo, and kind of worked my way up the ladder with Goodwill, and really cut my teeth as far as nonprofit management was concerned with them. And their mission, everyone's familiar with the retail side of Goodwill, of course, but the mission side of Goodwill is to help people with disabilities, help people on public assistance find employment. So worked my way up the ladder there, and learned a lot of important stuff when it comes to leading an organization, like grant writing and quality improvement and safety and those kinds of things, as well as program development. And then had the opportunity to work with Compeer as their assistant executive director for about 4 years. They're a mental health agency, and there's Compeers across the country, across the world actually. And from there, got another position with West New York Independent Living, another disability services agency, a very large one. Was responsible for getting money, getting clients, getting exposure, that kind of stuff. And after all those work experiences, felt I was certainly ready to move on to the next level of nonprofit management and lead an agency. So the opportunity came by with the Mental Health Association in Niagara County, and fortunately our board selected me to lead the organization, and I've been there almost 3 years now, and started in August of 21. And was happy to stay in the human services field, and also happy to work in Niagara County, where I grew up and lived till I was 30. And certainly no regrets. Hopefully our board has no regrets for offering me the position, but I've loved it personally, and the staff is unbelievable. And the clients we work with are it's such an important agency in the area, and the more work we do, unfortunately, the more work there is to be done with helping folks who live with a mental health diagnosis. But it's I can't say enough about the staff. We have about 20 employees, give or take 1 or 2 at any given time, and they're heroes basically. They're doing things that are so important and helping so many people. And I'm a paper pusher for the most part, right? So I'm not really doing a lot of the hands-on work with our clients, but our staff, like I say, they do stuff every day that just blows my mind.
Well, you certainly have the experience. Working in nonprofit for so many years is a unique opportunity to position yourself where you are now, because nonprofit is a different animal than owning your own business. I think each one has its own its own set of skills that are needed, but having those experiences in different nonprofit organizations really gives you a broad array of experience to be able to lead this organization. I think you can take a little bit of everything from every organization and apply it to what you do today.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like I say, working with the different agencies, I really did learn different things at each agency. Like I say, with Goodwill was program development and grant writing, and then when I went to Compeer, it was more managing day-to-day operations of the agency, and West New York Independent Living, which is a huge organization, and getting into event planning and managing volunteers and that kind of stuff. So I really did learn different things at each of those agencies, and and I'm able to kind of utilize all those experiences with the Mental Health Association now.
There's a whole list of programs and services that you provide, and it's all listed in on the website. How has how has it been having to navigate the mental health field, especially when you first started right after the pandemic? You started in 2021, so it was in the height of
Sure.
Things happening. How has it changed? What a time to start, what a time to start in that organization and to serve the community in an important way. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was a hectic time, I'll say, but the need just continues to grow, right? And at that point in time, when I started, I really wanted to kind of focus on getting, a little more attention to the youth that we served in Niagara County. And, I should say we just serve Niagara County residents. There's other mental health associations across the country that serve various geographic regions, but we obviously serve Niagara County residents. So I wanted to kind of make it a priority to kind of work more with the youth. We always worked with a lot of adults, and at that point in time, with kids not going to school or just kind of getting back into going to school in the classroom, and just mental health issues exploding, with in the younger population. So we were able to kind of get more in the schools, late 21, early, and into 2022, and do a lot of community education presentations in schools. All the school districts in Niagara County were very open and receptive to having us come in and talk about various mental health related topics. And then we also offered, staff to be available to kind of work one-on-one with any of the youth who may, we may have struck a chord with or a nerve with, who really want a little more one-on-one support. So we were able to provide that one-on-one support as well to youth. And I mentioned I work with the organization called CompHERE. The Mental Health Association in Niagara County runs the CompHERE program in Niagara County. So that had, that was near and dear to my heart, that model of having a volunteer matched with the client and doing kind of social, recreational, educational activities. So we put a little more emphasis on our youth program within CompHERE to kind of provide them that support. So it was just a time to kind of understand that, yeah, adults were struggling too, but it was a different animal with the youth at the time.
Definitely. What are some of the programs that are, the homework programs of what you do now? What are some of those, if you can share those
Sure.
with us?
Yeah, I mentioned CompHERE. So CompHERE, I love the model. It's having a volunteer who's matched with a client of ours, and a lot of times youth and adults who have a mental health diagnosis, they don't have a circle of friends or a family or some kind of support network. And especially with youth, they may even be ostracized or bullied in school. So CompHERE, we recruit volunteers to kind of be matched one-on-one with the client. And the mission is to just go out and have some fun, really get the folks out of their homes into the community, engaged and active in the community. And that's where the volunteer kind of fills that role, to get them out, go to a baseball game, go to Tim Hortons, go to the movies, go bowling, whatever you guys want to do, whenever you want to do it. So we're always looking for volunteers as well. So I'll plug that. We can always use more volunteers to be matched with our clients, and unfortunately we have more clients on our waiting list than we have volunteers. So anyone looking for a pretty cool, in my opinion, and easy lift of a volunteer opportunity, let us know. And kind of the process is, we do a background check on our volunteers, because obviously we'll want to have someone who, if they're going to be with one of our clients, we want to make sure they don't have a criminal background. So we do a background check, and once that's out of the way, we kind of present a few profiles of clients to the volunteer, and they get to pick the person who they think is the best match for them based on interest and age and where they live, kind of thing. So that CompHERE is one of our programs. Like I say, our core to our mission is community education. So we do a lot as far as getting into school classrooms, getting into civic organizations, getting into houses of worship, businesses, other nonprofits, and talking about whatever they want us to talk about. We have a kind of a catalog of presentations that we can do. Mental Health 101, we can, a big one, popular one in schools is we do one on social media and cyberbullying. We also can get into more of what specific diagnoses look like. So, whatever the host wants us to kind of talk about, we can cater a presentation to that topic. And tied into the community education and presentations. We do a TV show on a monthly basis, The Many Faces of Mental Health, which is aired on Lockport Community Television. And sometimes we have our staff on talking about what's going on with their programs or the agency, but sometimes we have other organizations come on and talk about what they're doing that's great in the community as well. We also do we also every year we put out a help book. It's called. It's kind of a directory of community services. So if someone needs legal assistance or financial assistance or mental health assistance, this little book about that big is chock full of resources for them, and it's very popular. And a lot of people know us for that book, and that's great. We put out a couple thousand a year. So it's all part of educating the community on mental health and kind of reducing the stigma kind of wrapped around it. I think, with I'll say my parents' generation, mental health wasn't a thing, right? Like they didn't acknowledge mental health. And I think with my generation, it's certainly more accepted and recognized as a legitimate, disability. But I think we're now at a point with our youth, with our kids' generation, where it's just understood. It's just part of their fabric. They understand that mental health is important. Is a legitimate disability. So I think we're at a point now where their kids will just be totally understood and recognized, and so that's great. I think we've turned a corner within a couple generations of making it kind of destigmatizing what mental health looks like.
I agree, and I think that's due to the work that your organization is doing. It is much easier now to talk about mental health than, I'm going to date myself, but when I was in high school even, it wasn't really talked about. Even in family, you weren't talking about your, positive mental health. It just was something that was swept under the rug. Sure. And now, having 4 daughters, it is very prevalent in conversations and making sure that you're able to be checked and having tools to be able to understand mental health is important as well. If somebody contacts your organization and they are in need of help, how is that first contact? How is that first intake? What happens? Do they call? Do they send an email? What happens from that point on? How are you able to help somebody who's looking for help and they reach out to your organization? What's the next step?
Sure. Well, I guess it's important to mention that we're not a clinical organization, so we don't have licensed mental health clinicians on our staff. We're peers basically. So while not every staff person has a mental health diagnosis themselves, most do. So our staff kind of use their own personal experiences of living with a mental health diagnosis and all their education and training and lived experiences, and I'll use all those tools and resources to work with our clients. So that's important for folks to know. We do get a lot of calls of folks looking for a clinician, and we refer them to the Niagara County Department of Mental Health or other agencies that may have clinicians. But our peer support, I always say it's very easy to work with us. We're not a red tape laden agency, so intakes are very easy, and we start working with folks right away. So there's not really a delay when someone calls us. Again, probably within a few days we'll be working with that person. It's a very easy intake process, and after that initial meeting, if it seems like they're comfortable working with us, then we just start working with them. So it's not I don't think we're typical of a lot of agencies in that we can start right away and that we're pretty easy to start working with.
You help provide the support, which is so important. And I think that's one of the things that is paramount in mental health, is having the support and having the organization that can help make that happen. With that, how can somebody volunteer? Can they call? Can they, do they have to come somewhere? What's the steps to
Sure.
volunteer?
Yeah, call us. You can go on our website, MHANC.com, or just give us a call at our office, 716-433-3780. Again, we do a background check on any volunteer who applies to volunteer with us, and assuming they get through that process, which takes about a week for us to get the results back. Again, if they're volunteering with our Compure program, which we discussed a little bit ago, our Compure director, Tara, will begin that matching process and providing profiles to the volunteer to review. But on occasion we'll have opportunities to volunteer in some other capacity, maybe helping out the Compure program, because we always do a lot of activities within our Compure program. So as I mentioned, there's a lot of folks on our waiting list waiting for a volunteer. So for them, we do monthly activities ourselves, like we kind of do the bowling and we do the movie nights, and so they can kind of come out with us and get out and have some fun, at least once a month. And we'll do some other smaller activities too throughout the course of the month. In fact, we even do a after school program on every Wednesday at our office. We call it the couch. It's just kind of a casual hangout, kind of thing. We try to organize activities, but with 10 to 15-year-olds, it ultimately devolves into just poking and prodding and annoying each other, and that's fine. They're having fun, and it's all good, clean fun, and supervised by our staff. So we do that. So maybe someone can kind of help supervise those activities, or maybe they have a skill that they can come bring to the table, like arts and crafts or music, for our clients as well. So again, the main thing we're concerned about is that police record, and that someone has it in their heart to work with someone with a mental health diagnosis.
Sure. You'll take their talents and you'll use them.
Yes, absolutely. Right.
Advocacy is one of the missions of your organization. What are some of the priorities in advocacy that you're working on right now?
Yeah, we're trying to be better with our advocacy efforts. We started. There's the Mental Health Association of America, which is kind of the mothership, Mental Health Association, and then there's the Mental Health Association in New York State, which is kind of above us for all the MHAs in New York State. But I've been working with both of those organizations to see how we can be better at that. So we've done a lot of social media related to legislation revolving around mental health, and I'll say Governor Hochul, whether you like her or don't like her, she's been a very strong advocate for the mental health field. She's sunk a lot of money into improving the state's mental health services. So she's really been an important political figure as far as helping the mental health agencies in New York State. But we will put out there. Some folks may not know how to contact their elected officials, so we've put out social media posts with their contact information. Just Saturday we put out a post about new legislation being proposed in New York State, which is supposed to protect youth and when it comes to social media. That's probably going to be decided upon in the next week or so. So we're just trying to educate more the public. We do our programs and we do our community education, but we want to educate the community as to what's going on kind of behind the scenes with mental health. And it's just a way, like I say, we're trying to improve upon those efforts. At an agency level, I think our staff do a pretty good job with advocating for their clients. So some clients that they're working one-on-one with may again, they may not have a lot of support to kind of help them navigate social services or navigate Medicaid or navigate the mental health system. So I think our staff do a pretty good job at a one-on-one level with advocacy efforts.
Yeah, that's so important, having those connections, knowing where to turn, knowing the resources that are out there. And your staff is key in making sure that happens. How many are full-time and how many are part-time on your staff?
Yeah, we got about 10 full-time, 10 part-time. One program, actually a couple things I haven't mentioned about our agency is our respite program. We do child care for parents who have a child with a mental health diagnosis, and it's free. So it's obviously pretty popular. What's not to like about free child care, right? So with that program, those are mostly part-time positions because it's mostly like on a weekend or at night for a few hours. It's just an opportunity for parents, caregivers to be able to get out and have a date night or run errands or
so
go to
important.
doctors and know that we'll some caring, compassionate individuals will be there to watch their kids. And besides being free, the other nice thing about the program is that even if there are siblings who do not have a mental health diagnosis, we can watch those kids too. As long as one kid has a mental health diagnosis, we can watch all the kids in that household. So that's another program that we offer. And we also have a temporary house in Lockport. We call it the Hope House, so it can accommodate 4 people who are struggling at that point in time with their mental health and going through some kind of crisis. So we have a staff, it's actually a collaboration with Community Missions to kind of have staff on hand in this temporary housing situation and kind of help folks decompress and get ready to kind of get back out on living their own lives. So we have the Hope House, and those positions are part-time for the most part as well. But with our one-on-one counselors, peer support specialists, those are pretty much full-time, and we have an HR finance person and myself as well.
So many important programs. What are the needs right now for your organization? Doing all these different programs, Hope House and the different programs that you have. What are some immediate needs that perhaps somebody in our community could help with?
Yeah, besides the volunteers, which is obvious, and that's not unique to our agency. That's an issue across the board for nonprofits, not getting enough volunteers. But I say with our volunteer opportunities, it's just such an easy lift. Like, what's so hard about going to Tim Hortons for a cup of coffee with someone? And we only ask for a few hours, a couple outings a month. If folks want to do more than that, great. It's up to them. Again, that's between the client and volunteer to get together as much or as little as they want to. But we we could use more staff, certainly. We get some generous support from Niagara County and from Greg Lewis Foundation and other foundations in the area, as well as just donations from community members. But our full-time peer support specialists, our staff who are doing the one-on-one support with our clients, they're pretty maxed out. So we could use some additional peer support specialists to kind of take the burden off all those folks who have such big caseloads. But despite their big caseloads, they're providing great attention to everyone that we serve. But money isn't always an issue for a nonprofit, right? We need more money. If we got more money, we can do more stuff, certainly. And so volunteers and money, this is actually our 60th anniversary. 2024 is our 60th anniversary of the Mental Health
60
Association.
Years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we'll have some kind of function at the end of the year. We're still trying to figure out what we want to do to recognize that and celebrate that. And as you were mentioning when we were talking about how our parents kind of viewed mental health, Mental Health Association started a lady named Betty Sinclair in Lockport, who had family members, not immediate family, but cousins who she knew had some mental health struggles, and her parents were ignoring it and not doing anything about it and kind of hoping it went away. But she said, you know what? I'll bet it's not just my family. I'll bet it's a lot of families who are going through this. So she took it upon herself to start the Mental Health Association in Niagara County 60 years ago, and with the help of some other, compassionate individuals and community supporters, she launched the MHA 60 years ago, and here we are today. So
Still going strong.
yeah, so we'll do something to recognize that later in the year.
Yes, I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Congratulations on 60 years.
Thank you.
I said over 50, add another
Yeah,
decade
right.
onto that, 60 years. So the website has a lot of this information on
Yes.
it. It's full of different programs and services and ways, ways to improve your mental health as well as ways to volunteer. All of that information is there. You're also on social media as well. I saw it. You have a TikTok account. What a way to reach the youth. You found a way.
We've just started it, and I haven't put too much on TikTok. But
That's okay. You started it.
Facebook is our main social media outlet. There's always, if not a daily post, at least a couple a week we'll put on there with updates. And Instagram, we have an Instagram account, and we're getting into TikTok slowly but surely. We certainly want to do more to. That's the new sexy social media trend, right? TikTok. So we want to get more active in that as well. And just one other thing that to mention on our website, in talking about this one-on-one support, we also do support groups. I'm reluctant to say when and where because they're always changing based on attendance and our host location and staffing. So I always tell folks just to contact our office and we'll be able to tell you when and where our support groups are. But I know we do a couple at NCCC related to suicide. We also do one at Heart, Love, and Soul in Niagara Falls, kind of a mental wellness one. We have staff that are inside the Niagara County Department of Mental Health Clinic at Trot and also at the Shaw Building in Lockport, and they run groups there as well. So we're always doing groups, but for a completely accurate, up-to-date list of groups, just contact our office.
Sounds like you have a presence all throughout the county. So
Yes.
it is important to have that. You're spread all over, so there is a group for you.
Yes, because our main office is in Lockport, I think people think we serve Lockport, but we actually serve all of Niagara County. We're doing stuff in North Tonawanda and in the rural areas of the county and Niagara Falls. So yeah, we make it a priority to get into every inch of Niagara County.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We had a little late start because, it's my fault. We said the wrong address. But I am so impressed with all of the programs and services that, that are offered. It's such an important thing. And, we want to make sure that you are here another 60 years.
Right.
You also, with your experience, are positioned in the best way to lead this organization. I want to say you have been, you know how to deal with the youth. You've been a high school football official for 30 years. You volunteer for the Special Olympics. Tell us about a special memory you might have from either one of those.
Sure. Yeah, I've been a high school football official for 30 years now, 31 coming up. I think I got 1 or 2 more years in me with that, but that's been super fun. It can get hectic a little bit, but I've made a lot of friends, other officials, and had a ton of great times and seen a lot of great football players over 30 years, Rob Gronkowski and all of them from the area. But I had the opportunity to do a New York State final game a couple of years ago. That was certainly one memorable thrill for me. But again, the friendships I've made, with other officials and even some coaches. There's a lot of good coaches out there too. But you mentioned Special Olympics too. They do a huge flag football tournament fundraiser at the Bill Stadium, and it's actually coming up this Saturday. And I kind of help that, make sure there's officials for all the games, because there's 4 games going on at each time. They cut the field into quarters, and there's 4 games going on all day, all night. So I help with that just to make sure we have officials to cover all those games. So I love doing that too.
How fun.
Yeah.
That sounds, you always need something fun at the end of the day, especially, with you working with mental health and need a way to kind of just enjoy life and have a different aspect to life. And it looks like you found it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Our work is important, but, personal downtime is important too.
Exactly. Well, I appreciate you taking the time again. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about Niagara. Niagara Health Association in Niagara County. Again, the website is MHANC.com, and you can find the association on social media, TikTok, my kids. Mm-hmm. That's where the youth are.
That's for sure.
They definitely are. Yep. And you're reaching a little bit of everybody throughout Niagara County, and we sincerely are grateful for the work that you do.
Like I say, we love getting out and talking about mental health. If someone wants to have us come in and do a presentation to their staff, classroom, that's what we're all about. So, or if you just want to learn more about the organization, we love talking to community members too. Just give us a call.
Thank you. All right, we wrapped up our first week in June. Stay tuned for next week. We've got a guest lined up throughout the rest of June. Very exciting things coming up for our podcast. We have a full schedule coming up. So if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, just contact the office and we'll set you in on a date. Thank you for joining in today. And as always, you can find this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, on Apple, Spotify, or watch the video online at YouTube, on our YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, support local everything.